Phasmophobia is an incredible ghost hunting paranormal investigation game where you and your friends can try to identify one of 24 different ghost types on various different maps throughout the game. But whether you're a new player or a veteran player, you've had some opportunities, I'm sure, to have some strings of bad luck and die over and over again to ghosts. So in this video, I'm going to be showing some tips and tricks on how to increase your probability of surviving these ghost hunts. Let's get into it. Before we get too deep into this video, I want to start off the video by talking about hiding spots and how they operate on different difficulties throughout the game. We have amateur, intermediate, professional, nightmare, and insanity mode. Each one of those difficulties offers a certain number of hiding spots. Amateur has the ability to have all hiding spots open on a map. Nothing will be restricted to you. Whereas intermediate will have 3 or more hiding spots available to you on any given round. Professional only has 2 or more hiding spots available to you on any given round. And Nightmare and Insanity will have 1 guaranteed or more hiding spots on any given round. Now, there's a big distinction between a hiding spot and a safe spot. A hiding spot is something the developers have designed for players to be able to hide in. And that means that that hiding spot has an opportunity to not be available to you if it's not one of the designated hiding spots that are available for that round based on your difficulty. Now, having said that, safe spots are spots that are probably going to be available to you no matter what difficulty you're on. They're just built into the map. I'm going to give you a prime example, and we're going to show you during gameplay as well. But one of the most famous ones in the entire Phasmophobia is the fridge in Ridgeview. So let's go ahead and jump on into the gameplay, and we're going to show you some of these hiding spots. So I have it set on professional, giving me at least 2 or more hiding spots. And we're going to go ahead and set it to Ridgeview. I feel like Ridgeview is the one house in the game that has a bunch of potential hiding spots that could be beneficial for you. And it has a lot of looping potential, and it has a lot of safe natural hiding spots as well. So for the sake of the tutorial, it's fantastic. All right, we're loaded into Ridgeview. I just want to point out that I do have a scattered mix of tier 1 and tier 2 gear. I recently prestiged in the game, so I don't have all tier 3 gear or anything to show you. So we're going to work with what we have. So, first thing I want to do is make my way inside of the location and start showing off some hiding spots we have in this professional round. Again, only going to have 2 or more hiding spots on professional. So go ahead and take a flashlight so we can see. Making our way inside, I'm going to quickly turn on the breaker box so we can turn some lights on. I always recommend turning the breaker box on first. Lights are very essential in Phasmophobia to maintaining your sanity. Power's on. All right. First hiding spot here that I'm coming into contact with is these lockers in the basement. As we can see, these are not one of our at least 2 hiding spots that are going to be available to us. There are containers blocking them up. Therefore, we cannot utilize them this round. So we have to assume that we basically have no hiding down here in the basement, other than these shelves, which can come in handy if you're trying to block line of sight on the ghost. You can turn off your electronics, you can hide behind a shelf, and if you hear the ghost coming around the left or right side, you can move the opposite direction and kind of essentially loop the ghost so it doesn't see you. Making our way upstairs. Holy fuck! All right, that didn't happen. Continuing on. Here we are. Here is the one safe hiding spot that I was talking about that is very famous and notorious in Phasmophobia, the fridge, aka why they call this map Ridgeview, because this hiding spot is very, very strong. And although it is not a foolproof way to not die, it comes in handy because very rarely do ghosts actually pat back here in the kitchen to come in front of you to be able to see you here. So if the ghost is walking on the other side of that countertop right there, it'll never know you're back here, as long as you don't have your electronics on, of course. So that is a safe hiding spot that'll always be available to you no matter what difficulty you're on. Even if I have a custom difficulty that has no hiding enabled, this will always be here because it's a safe hiding spot. And that's the big distinction between hiding spots and safe hiding spots, is that these will never ever go away. Unless the developers patch it for some reason, which we hope that never happens. Devs, I'm looking at you. Don't do it. All right. Going forward, let's look at some other hiding spot capabilities that we have. We saw the lockers downstairs were blocked off, so those are not going to be available to us. We have a ton of closets in this house. One of the benefits of this upstairs hallway is that we have 1, 2, 3 closets that are potential to be open. That one is blocked. This one is blocked as well. And this one is going to be blocked too. So all 3 closet spots are going to be blocked off, which is really, really bad RNG. It's totally random which hiding spots are going to be available to you. So we just got really unlucky that all 3 of these are blocked. What we can hope for is that the one inside of the teal bedroom, this closet, will be open. And it is not. Okay. So no upstairs hiding whatsoever. So in this situation, if you had a ghost and you were forced upstairs with no hiding, the only thing you can really do is hide in a room that's kind of off the beaten path. I would probably recommend one of these end rooms here. As long as it doesn't know you go down here, it doesn't know that you walked down here and saw you go this way, you may be best with kind of just like getting on top of the bed. It is hiding in this corner back here. It's your best bet. It's a long shot, and if the ghost does come and check here, you will die. But honestly, in this situation, you would have no other option. That would be your best scenario. Another good opportunity is to hide like behind this toilet here. It's not going to block you from line of sight of the ghost or anything, but honestly, it's not a bad deal. Because if it gets here, it opens the door for a second, peeks in and turns around. It'll not even go in there and know that you're there. So, upstairs hiding is non-existent. So we have to have 2+ hiding spots on this map. One of them is going to be right here in the living room, it looks like. It's going to be behind these containers in the living room. So this is one hiding spot you can utilize. So this is a hiding spot that it did give us. And this isn't always here. These bins are not always here to create this hiding spot. It's just one of the many hiding spots that could be available to you depending on your difficulty of that game. So that is one. All right. Going on over to the lockers that are now in the garage. Here we go. We have our second guaranteed hiding spot. It is the first locker in the garage. What about this locker? That's another one. So remember how I said professional has 2 or more guaranteed hiding spots? We actually have 3 this round. 1 in the living room and 2 in the garage. So that's pretty cool. So now we know automatically if the ghost starts hunting, we have to either rush to the living room or to one of these guaranteed lockers inside of the garage. Now that we've shown some of the hiding spots in the round, I want to go over the importance and the strengths of closets and lockers. They're some of the best hiding spots in Phasmophobia, and there's a very real reason for that. If you go inside of the locker, firstly, I would make sure that you don't have any electronics on, because if you have any electronics on, whether it be your head cam, your flashlight, anything in your main hand like a photo camera, it will understand that you are inside of this hiding spot, and whether you are inside of it or not, it'll come, open the door, and kill you immediately if it senses your electronics within a range of where it's hunting. What I wanted to stress here is that you can hold the door shut in a closet or a locker, which is why it's so strong. So what this does is you get in the locker, you hold left click on the door, pull it into you like this, and don't release your left click button. Keep it held down and keep it so your camera is looking away from the direction that the door would swing open in. And what this is going to do is if the ghost passes by this door during a hunt, it'll ensure that it doesn't randomly open the door a little bit. Because if it opens that door a little bit, it's going to see you inside, and it's going to rip the door open from that point on and kill you. So, the ghost still may try to open the door, but at least if you're holding it with your left click like this, it's less likely that it's going to open to see you inside of it. So definitely make sure you hold your doors shut in lockers and closets. Very important. I know a lot of players don't do it, and it's one of the biggest reasons they die inside of these spots and are very confused by it. Now that we've gone over some hiding spots, let's go ahead and talk about sanity. Sanity is very important so you can reduce the possibility the ghost will hunt you when you're not ready or expecting it to do so. So when you're looking at your sanity meter, a majority of ghosts will hunt at 50% sanity or less. There are some ghosts that'll hunt earlier. Examples would be demons. Demons are a main one. They can hunt almost any time they want with their ghost special ability. But also mares. If you have the lights off, the mares will hunt earlier than other ghosts. Yokais, if you're talking a lot, the yokai will hunt at a higher sanity than the rest of the ghosts. So sanity is very important. So I always recommend to people to try to make sure they maintain a little bit over 50%. That way you're keeping most ghosts in the game out of the hunting range. To assist you with retaining sanity, very highly recommended to use lights. If you're doing a house or if you're doing a farmhouse, a small map that doesn't have a lot of dark areas that are natural, being able to stay in a well-lit room will retain your sanity almost completely. But if the ghost events on you, it will indeed drain your sanity through the event. And if it's a poltergeist, it has a way to drain your sanity through throwing things next to you. There are many different ghosts in Phasmophobia that have the ability to passively drain your sanity based on things that they do. So lights are not the sure-proof way to retain your sanity, but is a very good way to retain your sanity. And oh my god, the ghost is in here with me. Turning that off. I don't like that channel, ghost. So, again, if you have a well-lit room, you will retain your sanity for longer, more often than not, depending on what ghost you have. One very important thing to note when it comes to light retention of your sanity is that it only retains your sanity well in very small, very well-lit rooms. So one of the examples I always like to use to show you a not well-lit room in a very large room is a hallway here in Sunny Meadows. As you can see, as we look down this hallway, there's a lot of very dark areas that the light just doesn't touch. So in this area, the light would not retain your sanity very well. It will retain some of your sanity, but definitely not a majority of it. So you got to keep that in mind that on these bigger maps where you have these dark areas, you'll be losing quite a bit of sanity still, even when lights are on. But still, very, very worth having the breaker on at all times and always utilizing lights because some sanity retention is better than none at all. Now that we've gone over sanity retention, let's talk about what you should do in the event that you may have an early hunter and there's nothing you can really do from stopping it from hunting in regards to retaining your sanity. My recommendation to every player in Phasmophobia is that you put down your crucifix very early on in the round. It's there for you. It's a defensive item. There is no reason why you shouldn't. If you have them inside of your truck, put them down because it's going to help you in the long run. It's going to make it so if you're caught off guard and the ghost starts hunting and you're not ready for it, you won't die. It'll hopefully prevent that hunt from happening. So what I recommend doing is finding your cold room in the house. Right now, I see this room is about 5 degrees Celsius, which is the coldest room I found in all of Ridgeview. And it has a lot of activity happening in it as well. Go ahead and start putting down your crucifixes. Make sure that you have them positioned in a way that it covers a majority of the room with that little outline there that you can see that's glowing, that white circle. So make sure you kind of put it in the best place possible to cover the entire room. So when I placed this crucifix here, I wanted to make sure that it covered a majority of this dining room, which I think it did. So hopefully if the ghost starts hunting me and I'm not ready for it, it'll eat the crucifix instead of eating me. That's the idea anyway. So yeah, again, if it's inside of your truck, there's no reason why you shouldn't be placing these down early. I feel like the only way to segue out of the talking about crucifix and making sure you have them in the map early is to go into the smudge stick. You should always have a smudge stick somewhere on site nearby so that if you had to pick it up in a pinch before the ghost starts hunting or during the ghost hunt, you can go ahead and grab it and protect yourself with that repel to get the ghost to kind of get disoriented and walk away for a couple seconds and hopefully give you time to get to a hiding spot. So what I always like to do is wherever my ghost room is, which thankfully is very close to the door here, is I like to be able to put the smudge stick somewhere where I know I'm going to run for a hiding spot. That way, let's say this, okay? The ghost is going to spawn here in the dining room. I am going to be standing mostly here in the hallway, waiting for evidence to happen. If the ghost does start hunting and it's right on top of me, I want to run this way, grab both these items. They're going to be in my inventory if I have open inventory slot, and I'm going to light the smudge stick to save my life, and then get to this locker over here. So I think it's always important to have a smudge stick somewhere nearby, and I totally understand that if you're playing solo, it's not ideal or expected to be able to have one in your inventory 24/7, because we are here to investigate for ghosts. You're here to try to get evidences as well. So you can't always have 2 pieces of equipment inside of your inventory at all times. We only have 3 inventory slots, and one of those is probably going to be occupied by a flashlight if you don't have a head cam established already. So definitely just make sure you keep this somewhere nearby, and make sure you place it somewhere nearby that's going to be going in the direction that you're going to hide. We kind of just touched upon it, but I want to talk about positioning now. This is something I see a lot of new players making a mistake with, and it's something that I've kind of encoded into my brain now that I've played Phasmophobia for so long, and that is where to stand while you're waiting for things to happen. So, if my ghost room is this dining room, and I know I have a hiding spot there, and over there in the garage, I'm going to think to myself, I'm either going to stand here, so I could just quickly run back here, turn my light off, and get in this hiding spot, or I am going to stand here and make sure I can quickly run inside of the garage. and just dip in, lose line of sight real quick, get in the locker and shut it. Now, in situations where I have to be on top of the table or where I have to be like deep inside of the ghost room, I kind of like to call that the point of no return. Because if the ghost spawns there or there, more than likely I'm going to die if I don't have a defensive item on me, a crucifix in the room, or anything of that nature. So at that point, you have sacrificed your opening to get out of the room, and you cannot get out at that point. Now, I am very lucky that my room is a table, and I can see my breath happening here, so the ghost is definitely here with me, because if I had to, in a pinch, I could try to loop the ghost around the table at least once. So let's say, for instance, the ghost spawned on that side of the table from me. If I was lucky, I would crouch down, he would event me, and I would try to get him around the table so that he's over there and I'm over here, and then run, grab my smudge stick, and get in that hiding spot. So I would loop him, give him a half loop essentially, and go and run for my hiding spot. So again, positioning is key to survival in Phasmophobia. Do not ever go too far into the ghost room without some means of getting yourself out. And the means of getting yourself, more likely than not, is going to be that crucifix. Crucifixes, because you got two inside of your truck, and or a smudge stick in your inventory, your hand, or somewhere safe and accessible. Right, Ghost? The ghost agrees. Sheesh! See, thank goodness I had that down there. He would have chomped me. He would have spawned probably right there where he just evented. I would have been standing over here, and I would have had to have looped it to try to get that way. Now, the good thing about Ridgeview is, and what I was talking about safe hiding spots before, is that if I was really stuck on this side and I needed a way out, I can quickly dip into the kitchen and hide behind this fridge. Now, more than likely, if the ghost saw me dip into this area, it would probably come back here and check and I would die. But you know what? It would have been a good shot. It would have been the best opportunity I had to survive. One other thing real quick I want to be able to discuss is salt when it comes to ghost hunting and survival. Unfortunately, Tier 1 and Tier 2 salt does not have the capability to really save your life or benefit you during a ghost hunt. Unless you're trying to test for the ghost type, then it has a lot of benefits. But Tier 3 salt, the black salt, has a lot of benefits to saving your life. If the ghost is getting a little too close and you don't know if you're going to be able to outrun it, you could drop some lines of salt in front of where it's going to walk and slow it down. And as long as the ghost is in a wraith, that's going to be a very good strategy to making sure you can outrun the ghost for a little while. I feel like now is probably the most ideal time to talk about smudging and repelling the ghost and the best strategies to probably doing that. I think the ghost agrees. Oh my god. All right. So a lot of people know that when you smudge the ghost and you repel it, sometimes the ghost will walk in the same direction as you. And the moment it's done being disoriented and smudged in that repel effect, it'll just continue to walk towards you and kill you. It's bad RNG, it happens, there's nothing you really do to prevent it, but there is something that I do to make sure I limit the possibility of it happening. And that is when I smudge the ghost and I right click and I ignite this smudge stick, I tend to walk directly through the ghost, because usually I've noticed the ghost tends to continue on the same path it's walking in. And when I smudge it, so it'll get disoriented, but it'll just keep walking forward. That's not always the case. Sometimes it does turn, sometimes it turns back, but more often than not, I've seen it continue in the same direction. So if that's the case, I want to make sure that I smudge it and go a different direction that it was going to increase my probability of not going in the same direction as it. So I was going to go ahead and break this Ouija board to allow a curse hunt to happen and hopefully not die when I summon this ghost. But now the ghost is evented, I think it's there. So hold on. And by the way, if you don't know this, if a ghost events on top of you or events anywhere near you, it has the opportunity to remain in that area for a few seconds before returning to its ghost room. So there's a possibility the ghost can event and then hunt in that same location within a few seconds. So you always got to watch out. If the ghost events, it probably knows exactly where you are. Jesus, this thing is aggressive. Okay. Yikes. Maybe we should do it over here. I wonder if this is a banshee, because it is roaming towards me like a mother. All right, here we go. Hide and seek. I'm gonna go stand in here. I feel a little uneasy. Let's see where it starts from. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm gonna run through it. Here it comes. Right click, smudge, run through, It continued forward. It went a different direction than me. Going behind the fridge. It didn't see me go in this location. It was on a smudge timer. And now it's going to continue its hunt. It doesn't know where I am, at least not yet. I have all my electronics off. Very, very important. Again, I'm going to say this probably several times throughout the video. Don't have your electronics on when you're hiding. And it can be very easy to leave your tier 2 or tier 1 head cam on when you're hiding because it doesn't give off a lot of light or any indication that it is on, which is going to be changed in a future Phasmophobia update soon, I read. But make sure you have your head cams off when you're hiding. I think it's done. If you're ever not sure if the ghost hunt is done, leave your hiding spot briefly, try to flick a light switch. If the light switch moves, the hunt is not happening. If you try to hit that light switch and it doesn't move, that means the ghost is hunting. So if it moves, no hunt. If it stops moving when you left click, that means it is hunting. One thing to be very mindful of, if you ever use cursed objects, they do come at a very large cost of sanity. So whenever you use one or break one especially, make sure you come back to the truck if you have a sanity board available to you, and you make sure that you top your sanity off if you're going to be going back into the ghost location, or the ghost house, I should say. Now, if you're doing insanity or nightmare mode, you're not going to have the sanity board available to you, and you're going to have to rely on your expertise to take an educated guess on what your sanity could be. And more than likely, if you're able to take several sanity pills, you probably needed them. So when you reach 100% sanity, it won't let you take sanity pills. You'll try to right-click it, and it just won't let you do it because you'll be maxed out on sanity. So that is something to keep in mind. If you can't gain any more sanity, the game won't let you. That'll be a good indicator on insanity and nightmare mode to know if your sanity is topped off already or not. In the event that you don't have a smudge stick on you to repel the ghost during a ghost hunt, you have to take other factors into consideration in order to survive that hunt. Line of sight is a big one. The longer the ghost has line of sight on you, the faster it'll speed up, getting faster and faster to the point where it probably can't outrun it, and it will probably know exactly where you are because it's going to be on your butt the whole time. So, it's important to break line of sight by turning as many corners as possible, to hide behind natural hiding spots, or just to be able to like loop it around something. So for example, we're in Tanglewood right now. I'm going to let the ghost hunt. I'm going to hide behind the counter, and then I'm going to try to loop it around the car. If it tries to, it won't be able to see me around any of those objects. So here we go. The ghost is hunting. I am crouched. I'm crouched underneath the countertop right now. It is inside the room with me, as you can hear. And it has no idea that I'm here. It has no idea that I was behind this countertop. Let's make it come back up. It's coming back up. Bringing it back over to the counter. It walked down the hallway. It has no clue that I'm here. So we're breaking line of sight and using that as hiding. This is very beneficial when it comes to things like the car. The car is my favorite looping spot in all of Phasmophobia, because if you stay crouched, the ghost can almost never see you around this car. You can keep constantly breaking line of sight with it, and it'll be very difficult for the ghost to ever gain speed on you while you're trying to loop it. The very last thing I want to go over as far as equipment and helping you survive during hunts is candles. Candles have a certain sanity drain reduction applied to them that allow you to retain your sanity for longer periods of time, depending on your vicinity to that candle that is lit. So for example, now that I'm in the presence of this lit candle, I think the tier 1 is 2 meters around it. It'll reduce my sanity drain by a certain percentage now that it is lit. But the moment it goes out, that sanity drain reduction stops. So something to keep in mind. Candles aren't super useful anymore. They used to retain sanity by like 100%, but ever since the Ascension update and getting new tiers of candles, it doesn't do that anymore. So I don't see a whole lot of players carrying around candles these days, unless they're testing for an Onryo or trying to get a secondary objective done and getting it to blow out a candlelight. Just keeping this in mind, it could be helpful, but it's definitely not the most helpful thing in your toolkit to being able to survive in Phasmophobia, or even retain your sanity. I think I would much rather rely on lights inside of the location to retain my sanity. Now, I'm sure somebody is watching this video saying, Brotatorship, you went into Ridgeview, you knew where all the hiding spots were that were potentially there, and you already knew that information. How am I, a new player, supposed to know where those hiding spots are? I may have never been to the map before, And sometimes when the ghost starts hunting, I just panic and I just blank out on where all the hiding spots are. That's totally okay. It happens to all new players. I went through the same thing when I first started Phasmophobia. Now, unlike when I first started Phasmophobia, there's definitely something now that allows you to help you along way easier to being able to get familiarized with maps. And that is Casper the Friendly Ghost mode. So when you go over to your custom difficulties that you can create, I will pick this one to edit real quick. You can edit it, and you can go down to Ghost, Friendly Ghost, on. What this will do is the ghost will never hunt. Turning the setting on will result in 0 rewards. So what this does, essentially, it allows you to go on any map of your choosing to be able to go on there without any risk of that ghost hunting. That means that you can go ahead on any map of your choosing and you go look at all of the hiding spots that are available to you. And to ensure that all the hiding spots are available to you so you know where to find them, go to contract, go to number of hiding places, and go to very high, meaning pretty much all of your hiding spots are going to be on. So if you do this difficulty right here, go ahead and hit apply, go to any map, and you will be able to roam that map worry-free and see all of the hiding spots that could be there. And then you can get familiarized with the map that way. That's the best way I can think to being able to know what hiding spots you should be checking for on any difficulty, see if they're available or blocked off. And as for just kind of panicking during a ghost hunt and forgetting all of this information, totally valid. It happens again. And I think the more you play Phasmophobia, the more you're going to feel comfortable with the game, and the more that's not going to happen to you. And I also know for a lot of new players that when they play with their friends, they definitely are more focused and they feel more calm during when the ghost starts hunting and stuff. And it can actually be more of a fun experience. So maybe playing with friends is going to be the ticket for you for a little while before you can start doing solo ghost hunts. I know this was a ton of information that was thrown at you all. And again, a lot of it is probably common sense or common knowledge to a lot of the people that have played this game for a long time. But hopefully somebody found it helpful. We went over sanity. We went over hiding spots. We went over the difference between normal hiding spots and safe hiding spots. All the hiding spots that could be available to you on any given difficulty. We went over crucifixes, smudge stick best practices. We went over candle lights and how to retain those sanity. We went over a ton of stuff, and we went over positioning as well. If I had to say what was the best piece of advice over the entirety of the video, I would say it's managing your sanity and positioning. Those two things alone are the best ways to make sure you survive in Phasmophobia. Always make sure you don't go too far into the room. Always make sure you know which way you're going to be going at any point if the ghost starts hunting, and make sure you have your route planned out, and always make sure you have some defensive item nearby. So that's the key to surviving, truly. So again, I hope you found this useful. If you did, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe for more videos, as I'm always going to be creating more content on Phasmophobia and more other wonderful indie horror games that we all enjoy and love in the horror genre. So thank you for watching, and of course, until next time, friends, stay crispy.